Thank you, Ambassador, friends on the dais with me, dear colleagues. It's really a great pleasure, privilege to meet all of you this morning. This is my first visit to Argentina. It's the first morning after my arrival, so I'm full of energy and commitment, passion. You know, Indian passion is not so weak either. But I want to tell you why I am here. 2 months ago, Prime Minister Modi and President Fernandez met in Munich. So they had a very good meeting. They said, things are going well, business is good, and politically it's very smooth. So what can we do to increase the relationship, the cooperation between us? And at the end of the meeting, Prime Minister Modi told President Fernandez, I'll send my foreign minister, he'll come there, he'll meet your people, he will talk to you, just like you people go to India to develop your business plans. I'm not sure people in the Argentine government took it completely seriously. They're not sure I would come, but I did. And in fact, yesterday when I had the honor to call on the president, I told him, I said, see, 2 months ago we promised you, we are here. And we are here because I want to share with you today, given the world economy, given India's economy, the business possibilities between India and Latin America are very much bigger. And Argentina obviously is at the heart of our engagement with Latin America. But just to give you that in some kind of numbers, we have from India, our total exports, trade and services last year was about $670 billion. We have traditionally five big trade hubs, okay? European Union, the United States, China, ASEAN, and the Gulf. These five hubs are each have a trade turnover of more than $100 billion. Now, already with Latin America, in the year for us which just finished, we clocked about $45 billion. So the point which I would like you to appreciate is in our planning, in our understanding, on our radar, today Latin America is becoming stronger, more visible, more viable. And that's what you could call that sense of distance, geographical distance, I think is shrinking. The trade figures that you gave showed us whether it is oil for our stomachs or oil for our cars. They are both today sourced in increasingly large quantities from this part of the world. The second point I would make is that trade itself for everybody has become more global. It has become more global for a number of reasons. As countries become more prosperous, they have more demands. Many of these demands may not be met in their own region or by their traditional partners. So every major economy is today looking for new and new sources. For us, that quest for new sources, more sources, clearly will bring us much more in the coming years to Latin America. Now, this desire to engage more countries and more economies has become stronger, partly because of COVID. All the uncertainties, COVID taught us that if you rely on one economy or one region and something happens there, you are in big trouble. So the the um, the importance of de-risking your supplies, I think, has become very critical for all economies, but particularly for big economies. And the second, of course, is what is happening in Ukraine, because there too that has had a disruptive impact. In fact, quite frankly, one of the reasons why the soya oil imports have gone up so much is because sunflower imports from Ukraine have come down. But our I would say, sensible planning would say that if the world is going to have more risks, more pandemics, more conflict, more disruption, it is best to have multiple sources, best to have more sources, best to have new sources. And I think that is where there is a big opportunity between India and Latin America. Now, you will, in a way, perhaps be asking yourself, saying, okay, why is a foreign minister saying all these things? You know, it should be the trade minister who says these things. Here too, I want to share with you the changing mindset in India. For us, foreign trade, foreign business, investment, technology exchanges, these have become very much more central to foreign policy. So in fact, wherever I go, I make it a point to always meet the business community. There is a chamber, because it is also for me an opportunity to hear from you, what are your problems, what are your difficulties, so that I can go back and convey it also to my government. I must tell you, have a particularly personal interest in doing this, because briefly from the time I stopped being a diplomat, before I became a minister, I had a small window in my life. I was then in business, and I was doing global corporate affairs for a very big Indian enterprise. And a lot of what I was doing was either solving problems with foreign companies, for foreign companies, or I was looking at global trends and giving specific business advice to my own group. This was my job. So, in a sense, I carry that over today as minister, except I give you my services for free. And I want to assure you today that we have, everything else is going for us. We really need to find a way of making the business interaction between us very much bigger. You gave the numbers. We are today your fourth largest partner. The trade turnover is 5.7 billion. But the real challenge will be, how do we sustain this trend? Because it should not be that, okay, something happened in some other part of the world, trade went up, so things became normal there, trade goes down. That's not something we would like to say. So I would, I will be meeting my Argentine counterparts. We have a joint commission meeting. Mr. Cafero will be heading it from your side. There will be officials. But there are concerns that we have, and concerns which we believe today are limiting the trade between us. To some extent, anti-dumping duties are a problem for Indian exports. Non-tariff barriers are there, and there are market access issues. One important constraint we have in a very competitive sector is in pharmaceuticals. The fact that we are an Annex II country, our pharma exports last year were 56 billion. Argentina's total pharma imports are 3.29 billion. So now this is an area where we are actually globally established. I mean, if you look at India pharma exports to the US or to European Union or to Japan or to Russia, these are, our brand, our quality, our capability is assured. And we do believe that if there is a more level playing field which is given to Indian companies, it is possible very much to grow pharma exports. So in a sense, I would say very frankly, for us right now on the trade side, this is our number one issue. I spoke about anti-dumping duties. We have it right now in ceramic. There are 5-6 products we have. Now, there are two aspects there. One, of course, we have never done any anti-dumping duties on Argentine products. But equally, we are a private sector economy. We are not an economy where people will produce, will export at a loss. And we are not, and by and large, we are a kind of a medium enterprise scale. And medium enterprises, even for market share, will not sell for a long time at a reduced cost. So I think we will be making the case to the Argentine government saying they should really relook at the anti-dumping duties. And in terms of what are the non-tariff barriers, I think the two biggest impediments we have is one, the difficulties in getting visas and the delay in the issue of import licenses. So these are really constraining, because at the end of the day, if a business person cannot travel to a country, they are not going to export to that country, they are not going to invest in that country. So we have to find better ways of fixing the visa problem. We have to find it easier to see the import licenses issue. So I do want to say here that when I look at our two economies, actually the fit is to me very, very strong. I mean, you mentioned soya oil today. I mean, at the end of the day, you have land, you have water, you have scale in a way in which we don't, and we won't. So you will be able to produce, commodities for our consumption, which at a cost and a volume, which for us will be very, very important. And as Indian prosperity rises, it will be natural that our edible oil consumption will rise, because that is very central to the quality of our daily cuisine. So similarly, another fit was the example you gave, that if our agricultural seasons are different, and there is a fit between our seed production and your seed production, the cycles are different. This is something which is beneficial for both of us. In fact, if you look at the structure of the Indian economy, the Indian economy is geared itself to producing a lot of middle class goods, middle class in terms of costing. So if you are looking really for good quality, affordable products, in many ways we are a natural source for you. Our companies, those of our companies who are international, they have a tradition of working with partners. We are not a country where we, want to keep everything for ourselves. That has not been our trade tradition. So we believe that our mindset, our costing, our quality in a lot of areas would be helpful to you. I think even if you look at the knowledge-based industries, you spoke about innovation and what is possible, and increasingly that is going to be a big part of the economy. If you're looking at engineering solutions, today we actually do even projects, we deliver projects on a significant scale. And in many cases, we actually back it up with financing as well. So, and finally, of course, I think even on the innovation, there is a fit. I mean, we are a young demography, that especially under Prime Minister Modi's government, we have really given a push to startups and innovation. I mean, we have 100 unicorns. We had 44 unicorns last year alone. So there is a sort of energy and a sort of buzz in India, which you have spoken about, and I think it's something really which businesses on both sides would profit by. We also believe that on the energy side, that there are possibilities. We have already invested in Brazil and earlier in Venezuela. We buy petroleum crude from, and in fact even LNG from the US, crude from Mexico. We started buying from Guyana. So even the energy side is something we are looking at. We're looking at the defense side. Again, we have a growing defense industry. We know you have interest in a lot of that, so some of that it's not necessarily tied to defense, but even the drone. We have a very liberal drone policy which has now given a big spurt to that industry. Similarly, we know on your side, you have great skills on the nuclear. Already there is collaboration between us when it comes to the nuclear energy industry. So the fits are there. It's up to us to push it, to explore it, to conclude it. We believe, I can tell you, politically, strategically, even economically, as a government, we would support this very strongly. As I said, the purpose of my coming here is really to give that message, because hopefully you will take it more seriously if somebody comes all the way to tell you this. What I also want to emphasize is that Indian companies are today going out more and more into the world as investors, as project executors, as delivery centers, or in a sense in the world of technology and data, near-shoring enterprises. So here too, I think there is a great scope. I mean, we have IT companies, the big IT companies, already employ by the tens of thousands people in Latin America. But this can easily scale up if in a sense that, as I said, that mobility is made much easier. So I would conclude really by underlining that I think the opportunities are abundant, they are very diverse, they are very varied. What we need is really a very concerted effort on our part to explore them, to turn them into business propositions, to enthuse our business to really look at each other's as partners much more. And I thank the Business Council and the embassy and the ambassador personally, because I know how much interest he has taken in pushing the business side of the relationship. I'm very hopeful that, as I said, one day we will look back and say, our trade was only 5.7 billion. So I'm sure that day will come. It will not come. It should not be too far away. So I'm really here on a very, very optimistic note. So thank you for all coming here today and listening to me.